Hey, this is Steven. Thank you for tuning in to A Moment. Before we dive into this episode, I want to extend another heartfelt thank you to the Russell Hotel for letting Rachel and me record there. I spent some time looking for a cool place to shoot that matched Rachel's vibe, and an East Nashville church turned into a hotel was right on the money. The Russell's mission goes beyond providing exceptional hospitality. Through their Rooms for Rooms program, they are making a tangible difference in the Nashville community. By donating a portion of each stay to local nonprofits dedicated to supporting these experiencing homelessness, they are embodying the spirit of compassion and community upliftment. I'm personally inspired by the Russell's commitment to giving back, and I encourage you to visit russellnashville.com to book your next Nashville experience. By staying at the Russell, not only will you enjoy a unique and memorable stay, but you'll also be contributing to a meaningful cause. Thank you to the Russell for your dedication to making a positive impact in Nashville. Now, enjoy this episode with Rachel Huffman. Here we are. I didn't consider how to start this. Oh, except for the fact that I know we need to clap to help with the synchronization later on. And I'm going to need to say something about the Russell Hotel. Since they have this free space, I want you to talk about what they do and their mission and why it's cool. It's really great. So I'll do that in a second. But we're going to clap in 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm like meaningfully like, okay, we're doing it. This is the start. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of A Moment of Friendly Introspection with Stephen Floyd. My guest today is my friend Rachel Huffman. Rachel, how are you doing?
So good.
That's so great. Today's episode is brought to you from the Russell, a historic East Nashville church transformed into one-of-a-kind boutique hotel. And we've got some like B-roll and pictures. You'll see the lobby. It's super awesome. The Russell's mission is to give back to the Nashville community through the Rooms for Rooms program, by donating a portion of each stay to local nonprofits who are helping those experiencing homelessness. Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. Like, so much generosity, like, even just for using the podcast space for free, but like, also like, hey, there are people out there suffering. Like, this is a real crisis. We should do something about it. And they are. Like, not many people do that. It's amazing. So if you're watching or listening to this, visit russellnashville.com to book your experience today. If you're ever in Nashville, come to the Russell. I can attest. It is awesome.
It's so cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
So thank you to the Russell for letting us have this episode here today. Rachel, how the heck are you?
Good, just vibing.
It's been a busy week for you.
It has.
I think you've been to probably 8 shows in 7 days just from watching your Instagram. But like, I was with you at some of those shows. But like, tell me about the rest of them. Where did you go this week?
So let me think. There was a show at the end.
Oh.
Which is over by Exodus.
It's like so grimy.
Teeny little venue. Yeah. And it's so hot in there. But Blake Rose was there. And
that's right. That makes perfect sense. That's where he was. He belongs there.
It was amazing.
Well, I don't mean like that. But like, I can see why he's there now. Like, he could do better than that in the future.
Yeah. But it was really cute. His opener was like insane.
He had an opener?
He gave me like Tyler Childers vibes.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like country, but like a little bit not. But his voice and Tyler Childers' voices are like very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was really good. I went with one of my friends. And then this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Or Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Got it, yeah.
There we go. Morgan Wallen is in town.
Of course.
So we went on Thursday night and we sat way at the top, like literally at the top of Nissan.
Amazing.
And then it was really good, but we were like, oh, we gotta go again. So we got floor tickets yesterday.
Are you serious? It was that good.
So good.
I don't believe you. Okay, audience. Yeah. I am the one person alive who doesn't care for Morgan Wallen. Maybe it's because I'm black, but whatever. It's fine. How in the world was this good enough that you had to go 2 days in a row?
We just had to be closer. We were literally one row away from the top of Nissan.
So you got both experiences. Which was better?
Being closer.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Except we thought we had the cheat sheet, so like we could see everywhere he walked, like his whole set the first night, and then the second night we're like, oh, we're gonna pick spots right where he walks by, and he walked a different way.
How dare he?
I know. I was like, frick.
Okay, so have you done that before? Like 2 of the same artists back to back?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's pretty unique.
Maybe like, no. Wow, not in consecutive days.
No, that's freaking ridiculous. Okay, what else did you go see?
Pretty much.
Well, we went to see a festival last weekend, which was Friday and Saturday. It was an EDM festival at this super awesome venue called the Caverns in Tennessee, where there are 2 stages. One is an amphitheater above a cave, and one is a venue inside of a cave. Like it's it's cool really and like vibey and awesome, and like EDM in that environment was so fun to be a part of. It was great. My favorite festival experience, I think, because like it started at 4, it ended at 10:30, and like the drive wasn't bad. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was very chill. I felt like, I don't know, when you go to places like Bonnaroo, I love Bonnaroo, but it is hectic and there's people everywhere. It's packed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just so chill. There's like room to move around. I don't know. It was a good experience.
It was a great experience. What is it for you about live music that keeps you coming back? Because for me, as someone who works in the music industry, music listening is kind of ruined for me. Like I listen to things and I overanalyze recorded music. Live music, I can still separate like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like it still gets me sometimes like, oh, I'm overthinking this, whatever. But like, what is it for you that keeps live music interesting?
I think it's just like a genuine interest in artists and listening to their music. Because I mean, I feel like all their music tells their story.
Yeah.
So you're learning a little bit about them every time you go to a show. And then I still like the whole like musicality aspect of it. I don't think I've gotten to the point where it's like ruined for me, where I'm like really, really analyzing everything. I still find myself analyzing more than I used to. Yeah, I think it's just like the experience. It's fun and screaming all the songs with your friends.
Yeah. Like, so you wouldn't just go see a random live show at a venue you like. It would have to be an artist that you love.
I think it depends. I'd have to like hear their music first.
Sure. Okay.
It depends on like the scenario too. Because I would go, if someone's like, oh, I heard this artist is good. I'd be like, okay, like I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about what stuff you grew up listening to. Like, what did your parents play? What did you find eventually when you became of age to be like, oh, I want to find my own stuff?
Yeah. I grew up listening to like Metallica. It was a blend of like Metallica, like Bon Jovi, the Eagles, Journey.
That's pretty awesome. Okay.
And then there was also the aspect of like Godsmack, Evanescence.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Love Evanescence. I saw her when I was like 12.
That's awesome.
She's amazing. And then other than that, it was always like, as I got older, my dad kind of started to get into EDM, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. We'd watch like festivals on TV and stuff.
What? Well, what
we'd be like jamming.
That's crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine my parents being into anything electronic.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did he like? That's awesome.
He kind of likes things like Rufus Du Sol, like stuff that I like, similar stuff. He used to really watch like the Chainsmokers, I think.
Okay.
And then just like festivals like Tomorrowland that get recorded. We just like play them super loud. The whole house is like shaking. I'm like, this is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But there was that. And then also there was like the Christian aspect of like worship music, mainly Bethel and like Upper Room, stuff like that.
Okay. Tell me about Upper Room, because even though I work in the Christian music industry, they were never a thing for me. I loved early Bethel and Elevation and Hillsong, of course, was crazy. But like, I miss Upper Room. What's their big song? What was the thing that stuck out to you? It was like, oh, this is a group I want to keep following.
Goodness. I don't know. I think it was just my parents would listen to the sermons and I would just hear them singing like your typical worship songs, but there was always a different aspect to it because a lot of their stuff is spontaneous, and they have all of their albums where they have like just 30-minute songs that are just called like moments.
Oh, Jesus.
And I don't know. Anytime I would like have my quiet time with God and stuff, I would just listen to the moments stuff, or any other just other worship music, because I mean it's all like drawn out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the name of a song that I really like, but I can't.
No, it's fine. Completely fine.
On the spot.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've been randomly thinking about for no reason. Do you struggle with silence?
Such a good question. Such a deep question.
No, thank you.
I think I struggle with stillness.
Ooh, explain
Yeah.
that.
I can deal with like silence and sitting in the quiet, but I think that stillness is a different aspect of it. Like if I have to just stay in one place and just be still, it's really hard for me. I constantly feel this pressure to always be doing something and constantly be working on something. And then if I am still and I take this time to rest, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not being productive.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about production? And like, this isn't just for you, but just like society in general. Like if you're not actively producing something, kind of like this, we could have done this and not recorded it. But if you're not actively producing something that people can see, it's like, oh, I'm a failure. It's so unfortunate, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
Enough of that. We'll get into deeper things later. I want to talk to you about your creative endeavors. Like you're a photographer, videographer, you're working on music. When did the visual artistry stuff start for you? When did you find a knack for that?
I'd say it probably started when I was really young. My grandma would always put on Animal Planet.
What? Okay.
Yeah. And we'd watch all the documentaries like Our Planet or like Earth, I think was a big one when I was younger. And I would just watch all the like videography in it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then it always felt impactful because they're always talking about things like the environment and how important it is to like conserve all of that stuff, you know?
And we did a great job with that.
We're trying, I think.
Yeah.
But I just always felt so impacted by it. And I think as I grew up, like when I got to college, I started to want to like pursue videography and I wanted to do more cinematography. I thought I was going to work for National Geographic. That's what I wanted to do.
What?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then I started doing it and I was like, actually, when I feel forced to create is when I'm the least willing to create. I just like, I can't put myself in the box. I have to feel like inspired on my own to create. And so I'm in like these videography and cinematography classes and they're like telling us how to make things and being really structured about it.
Yeah.
And I think that the structured part is good in some regards, like for aesthetics and like angles and all that. But when it's like everything is scripted and so structured, it's like this is really like so limiting.
Interesting.
Yeah. But before then, I started doing the videography stuff when I was in high school and I went on a mission trip and I like filmed the whole trip, made like a 40-minute movie out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, which I can't find anymore.
Oh no, dang it.
I know. I don't know where it is. It's on some flash drive or it's probably on like our server at my house in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so wild. Like, did anyone ask you to record that or you're just like, I'm going to do it?
I was kind of just like, I'm going to do it. And I remember it was weird because like this specific mission trip, I really, really didn't think was going to be good for me. Like I thought it wasn't going to be a fun time or that like God wasn't going to show up and he did. And I remember I was just like, I'm going to film it. And I'm so glad that I did. But I don't know. It sucks that the footage is like floating around somewhere.
Yeah. When we talk, you always say like, I want to get back to videography and photography stuff. What's that draw? Like, why do you think that'll always be with you?
I think just going back to the thing I said about it being impactful. I think that when you're creating video, people can, you see, you hear. I just think that it's a really influential platform. That and music are the most influential things we have.
That's a bold statement. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the musical creation aspect? When did that rise for you?
I always loved music. My dad was very into like sound systems and making things sound good in our house. I mean, you're listening to EDM music and he's got like surround sound where and they're like, woo.
Yeah.
So probably just like when I was younger, I think I developed the love of music that I have from my dad mainly. And my mom loved music too. It just wasn't to the same extent. But there was that. And then I think when I got into college, people would like have their like little bands and I thought that was cool. And then I was like, oh, after I started deciding that videography was too structured in that setting, I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I was walking to class one day and I was like, I love music. Like, let's learn about music. So I remember I went to my advisor and I was like, hey, should I change my major to music? And he was like, do you want to be in college 5 more years? And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Not really. So I ended up doing just more of like a production focused arena, which went into a lot of like recording podcasts and learning how to edit them. And also like we got to be in studio and like record a song in studio, learn how to mic everything, which was really cool. But then COVID hit and kind of like ruined the whole mixing and mastering aspect. I could definitely learn more about that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. And then I guess another aspect of the love of music is kind of just like writing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being a little girl and I would just be like in my grandma's little back patio and I would just sing little songs. Whatever came to my mind, I would just sing it and it would work. And then I think when I got older and more emotionally mature, I was like, wow, I can write all my feelings and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to join a band?
I thought about it, but I never was like, oh yeah, I need to do that. I think I thought about how much work it would be to get all these people collaborating on this one thing. And I was like, oh no. And also my town is small.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did like join the worship team when I was in high school. So I don't know.
That counts.
Yeah.
Thinking about music and the stuff that you're working on now that you've been so kind to share with me. Talk to me about the fear of creating something that you're proud of.
I think for me, I'm very much a perfectionist. Even when I played golf in college and like growing up, if everything was not perfect, it would really grind my gears. I was like, oh my gosh. But I think mainly wanting it to be good enough and then also just being concerned because you hear other people's music and you're like, why doesn't my music sound like that? There's a lot of comparison involved. But I also think it's good to have like your uniqueness and individuality. I don't know. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure to like pump out a lot of music at the moment.
Yeah. And
the market's very saturated too.
Yeah.
Especially around here.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Something that I ask myself before doing this show is like, who cares? Who cares about this thing specifically? Do you ever find yourself asking that? And if you do, what's the answer?
I don't know if I've ever thought of that. I think I'm always just like, I'm going to create it. And then I feel like the people who are meant to see it will see it. And they'll appreciate it. Yeah. And also like you're creating something that you feel passionate about and you're putting your heart into it. And I feel like when people take the time to watch it and listen to it, they know that you're putting yourself into it. I mean, I've seen videos where the creator's just kind of like, no, 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 no. And it's like, oh, this is good. But there's a difference between putting your heart into something that you're doing and there's a difference between like kind of just doing it because it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see this problem in work, like finding artists who have great music that's recorded out on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. And then we go to their socials and like, it's all like videos of like popular trends that are being done, but like you can tell that their heart's not in it. And that's probably fine. Like they didn't sign up to be a musical artist to also be a content creator, but that's just how it is now. And it kind of sucks.
It does.
So for us, we're looking for things to like, okay, they're putting 100% in every aspect. And it's not fair to the artist to have to do more and more to get noticed, but yeah, it's currently where we are. Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate a lot of the time.
Who are some of your favorite artists online?
Oh, I'd probably just say like Billie.
Okay.
I like how she just posts whatever she wants, kind of. But I also think she's pretty intentional with her fan base, I guess. Let me think of someone else. There's an artist that I have been paying attention to for a long time. His name is Aston. I think that's how you say it.
Oh, yeah.
ASTN. He's always been really good about being super creative with his content. And it's always usually music focused.
Yeah.
He doesn't really branch off in like the trend arena.
Yeah.
But also he's a big enough artist now. Like he's kind of like, he's set. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the last artist you found? Like, oh, no one else knows about this. I'm so glad I found them first.
Oh my gosh. I love that feeling though. It's like,
no, it's
I know
so
it's gonna
great.
love. Surfing for Daisies.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the guy who sings, his voice is insane. Yeah.
Shout out.
I love it. Yeah,
Okay.
shout out.
Sweet.
Yeah, they've grown a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I sent Steven this, like, how long ago was that? Like a year ago?
It was a little while ago, yeah.
Yeah, and they had like 800 followers. Now they have
Yeah.
10,000.
Are you serious? I had no
I was
idea.
like, yes. Every time it
Holy
grows, I'm
crap.
like, let's go.
That's crazy. I mean,
I
yes,
know.
they are good. But I haven't been paying attention to the
Yeah.
numbers. That's,
Mhm.
jeez. Are they ever going to do a show down here? Like, I know they're up in the Northeast, right?
I don't know. They're all playing up there. I did
Mhm.
I used to work at a restaurant in Franklin, you know, the one.
I do.
And they have little shows sometimes, and I talked to them about bringing them down here, but I think they're just trying to grow some more.
Yeah.
Just good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about your experience trying to make it in the music industry, because I had a recent experience of trying, and then I did make it, quote unquote. What has it been like for you? Like, you moved here from Texas, where there's not a large music scene outside of Austin, right?
Mhm.
What have you tried to do to make your way here?
I think meeting people. I think when I first got here it was really hard. It felt very isolated because I was like, oh my gosh, this city's really big. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
I remember just applying to so many jobs and just getting rejection after rejection after rejection. Every time I get an email, I'm just like, okay, delete. They're like,
Yeah.
we'll consider you later. I'm like, whatever. I think it was helpful with my family, like having connections to Centricity. That was the main thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll help.
Yeah.
Listeners, if there's anything
Yeah.
you learned from this show, the music industry is all about who you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just hanging around all of y'all in the A&R department, and then
Yeah.
just hanging out with the artists that I've gotten to meet, and then going to shows and stuff. But that was like 3 months after I moved here. So I was
Oh, yeah.
3 months, I was kind of like, what am I doing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was that. And then, I don't know, just making friends when we've been out and being like, oh my gosh, you make music? And, you know, also one night, like just meeting, there's so many random people that you can meet, but meeting people that do like EDM, that's been super helpful.
Yeah, okay. For thinking about your artistry, what style of music would you most like to make?
I really have an appreciation for EDM. I really love it. And that's what we're working on right now.
Mhm.
But honestly, I don't know. I feel like it'd be very hard for me to like put myself in a box, which is kind of not ideal, but I also feel like a lot of artists feel that way. They're like, oh, I want to branch out. You see a lot of artists that start doing one thing and then they get bigger and grow and they're like, actually, I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah. I have noticed that, especially in younger artists, like they don't want to fit in a genre box, and that's fine. But like some of the more seasoned artists, like, okay, this is what we do. We know what we do.
Mhm.
Maybe like Taylor Swift is the biggest example of someone who did something so well and then switched to another thing, which
It's a good
she's done
example. Mhm.
more and more. But maybe it's not fair. She's the biggest artist in the world,
Yeah.
and she can literally do whatever she wants, and no one cares. But it's interesting from my perspective, working at a label, like, okay, I'm looking for someone making Christian music. And Christian music is a little different because like it's defined by lyrical content, not by the sound of the production.
Mhm.
But like the sound of the production is important to me. Like, okay, is this the lane you're going to be in as an artist? Cool, let's run with that together. If it's like, okay, I've got 5 songs in a project, one's EDM, one's singer-songwriter, one's country, that's confusing to me.
Mhm.
But I know listeners nowadays are just like, I don't want to hear a full record. I have my playlist. I'll add this one song and that'll be enough.
Yeah.
It's a strange evolution of music, I guess.
It is. I also feel like I'm so all over the place. I'm like, oh, I can make this or I can make this. Because I've written songs sometimes and I'm like, this could be cute and it's a Christian song. I'm like, oh, this is country. Like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an anthem type thing. I'm like, this is EDM for sure. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I think I'd be better off just like writing with everyone.
Yeah.
Kind of just bouncing around. Because I know a lot of writers do that. There's also the pressure of like, it's weird if you write and then be in the industry. So
yeah, let's talk about that. Just the idea that if you want to be a songwriter, you, I don't know what the word is, shouldn't also work on the industry side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have this problem because I have no desire to be a songwriter. But we have seen people who have been able to do it in our industry specifically, or in my industry, in the Christian industry. People do write songs and they work on the industry side and it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do it. Like, I'm already drowning just doing my regular job. Like, how are you also adding something so creative and emotional on top of that? How often do you consider that? Like, how could I do both things well if I do land with an industry job?
I think just having some sort of separation. Like if I worked in Christian music, maybe writing mainly country or like secular music instead of Christian music, because then you don't have as much of the like blurred line where it's like, oh, are you writing for your own artists? And then y'all are releasing the song that you wrote. Then you don't have to even really deal with that, which some people are still going to be like, oh, she writes, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not writing for the branch I work in.
Yeah.
Which would also be really hard because, like, I love Jesus. I would want to write Christian songs.
Sure.
But I also think if you become a really, like, seasoned writer, it, of course, is going to take a really long time. Or maybe not. You know, you could get really lucky. It's Nashville.
No, yeah, you could.
But I feel like if you just, like, take your time, it would end up being fine. Honestly, you could probably just quit doing the business type stuff and just write.
Yeah.
If you're that good.
If you're that good.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite songwriters currently?
Oh, goodness.
You don't have to, but I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I also I feel like I pay more attention to like producers than I do songwriters, unless something just really sticks out with me. I will say that artist Knox that we've talked about,
Love
that
Letter.
man is clever.
Love Letter. I don't want to know.
Another artist I follow the other day, he was riding with him.
Oh, sick.
I was like, I see you. I was like, you're a genius.
Yeah, Knox is blowing up right now. And that's one that I...
We're plugging Knox right now.
That's one that I was like, okay, I found him first.
Yeah.
So...
And they were standing by him.
We were at a show. We were standing by him. I was like, oh, wait, that's who that guy was after the show. Like, dang it. Should have been friends with him. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, change some stuff around, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Hopefully you didn't feel the break like we did. It was like 2 minutes for us, but still. Yeah. Rachel, how do you feel about Nashville? How long have you been here, and how do you feel about it?
I've been here a year and a half, maybe a little bit or something like that. Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Something like that. And I like it. I hate the traffic.
Yes, good God.
The traffic actually sucks.
It's really getting bad. Like, the first time I ever said I hate Nashville was probably like 6 months ago. Because like I was in traffic that was 2 hours long. It was terrible.
My gosh. Yeah. Mainly the traffic. But everything else about it is pretty great. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing I love is how like there's such teeny little venues and really big artists will come to the teeny little venues. So you get this like intimate performance.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Or like decently big artists.
Yeah.
I mean, you have places like, is it Marathon over there? Yeah. I mean, that place is like, it's a decently sized venue, but you'll have like big like rappers come and perform there too. Just like, wow, I don't know.
One of the best shows I've ever seen was at Marathon. I went with Jonathan Cyphers and Kyle Brzezina. who were both involved in episode 1. And we saw this band, Half Alive, which is, I guess, pop rock alternative.
Yeah.
Kind of like 21 Pilots-ish. And it was a very long show. They had 2 openers. So it was like, I think 4.5 hours. And there's nowhere to sit in Marathon. So you're standing the whole time. It's all GA. My feet were hurting for sure. But oh my gosh, I was not prepared for the Half Alive show. Like, it was like a 1975 show, but added choreography to it for the whole time. It was a spectacle. So fun. So amazing. I was blown away. Yeah, maybe it's because I didn't have any expectations going in. Like, I knew I liked the band and the new record, but like, this was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I mean, for the size of the venue, there's usually really cool shows there. Like,
Yeah.
we saw a goth babe there. And I don't know how you would really describe his music. It's like somewhat electronic, but it's also like this surf,
that's a good
mountainy music type thing.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. He had like all these little lights. It was all coordinated. I was like, I'm obsessed. Oh, and then he also just like has giant pool floaties and people are just like surfing around in the crowd on them.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
Surfing for Daisies should steal that.
They should. Genius.
We went to a Lauren Daigle release show there and it was gorgeous. Like, oh my gosh, amazing. How many shows have we been to in the year and a half you've been here?
Goodness.
A good amount. It's got to be more than 10, right?
We went to Valley.
We did?
We did. we went to Valley because that's where we saw
of
Knox.
course. Yes, I'm an idiot. Literally 10 minutes ago, we talked about it.
We went to Valley. We've been to the Lauren show. We've been to Bonnaroo. Does that count as one show or a bunch?
That I will say it's one. But it was a full day.
Then the John Summit. We went and saw Maddie on. We've been to a lot. Probably at least like 20.
20?
I think 20.
Holy moly.
More to come.
No, yeah, for sure. More to come. It's great going to shows with you because like I know I can be myself and have a good time.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah. How's your experience making friends in Nashville? Like, is this the first place you moved out of Texas or no?
No. So after I was done with college, I graduated in 3 years. Thank God. Take your dual credit, kids.
Don't do what I did. Do what she did.
Flex.
Jeez.
I moved to Redding, California, and I went to school at Bethel. But I was there for like a year, and then after that, I moved back to Texas, worked all summer, and then saved all my money, and I came here kind of on a whim. Like, I got my apartment 2 weeks between me deciding I was going to move here.
Good God.
And then I also got my dog. He's very cute. Check him out on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm plugging Kylo too.
Hey, that's fine.
But other than that, it's easier when you're involved in something. Like, whenever I was working with y'all and stuff, like, I met some of my really good friends. And then also just like having other jobs, meeting friends through those jobs, and then also just going out on the town and like talking to people, meeting people and going to shows.
Yeah. It's
easy to meet people at shows.
Is it really?
I feel like
I don't think I ever want to speak to anyone at a show, unless it's Knox standing right next to me.
Yeah. What was wrong with us?
I don't know, bro. We interacted because like you went back to the car to get something. And I usually wear my AirPods just because like they have like a noise reducing feature. And Taylor Swift came on. We were both singing along, and he was like, "Are you listening to something else?" I was like, "No, it's just to keep the noise down." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And we were just jamming out to Antihero together. It was great.
Yeah. I remember he was literally such a nice person. Mm-hmm. He kept bumping me because he was standing right next to me. We were against the rail, and he just like, every time he bumped me, he'd be like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "You're so sweet."
Amazing.
I know. Like, the bar's on the floor. No, he's really nice. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was so cool, though. All his little friends.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and talk about your experience in Redding and all that. Because in my industry, like, we come across people who live or lived in that area. Bethel is a very large church, very influential church.
Yeah.
Why did you go out there? What was your experience?
So, as I said before, like, my dad would listen to Bethel's sermons and we would listen to worship. And I always felt like their worship was just next level. So, after I had gone on that mission trip, I had mentioned earlier, to Brazil, my parents were like, "Oh, Bethel's having this conference. you want to go? And I'm like 16 at the time. And I was like, yeah, let's go. I was really, really on fire. So I was like, yeah, let's freaking go. So I remember we like got a rental house and we went up there for this conference and they were talking about how they had a ministry school. And I was like, oh, I think I need to do that. And so I was talking to my parents about it. My dad was like, you need to go to college first. And
That's
I was
probably
like,
sound advice.
Yeah. I was like, okay. No, but okay. So then whenever I was going to finish in 3 years, I could have gone the full 4, but I would have only had like 1 class I was taking. So it was kind of a waste. And then just playing golf, I was kind of like, nah. So I remember I was praying about it and I was like, okay, well, should I graduate in 3 years? Like, give me a sign. And I ended up having a conversation with my golf coach where she was like, yeah, well, if you were only going to take 1 class, like your scholarship would be different. And there was a bunch of other stuff that went into it, but it was my sign. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to graduate. So I graduated, moved back to Texas. And then I was like, should I do it? And I just kind of did. Yeah. And it was all like paid for and everything. I didn't have to pay for any of it.
Praise God.
It was crazy. That's a different story.
Sure. So like, okay, once you're out there, like, do you know anyone? Like, what are you studying?
So I knew the girls I was living with. That was the main thing, is like I was looking for housemates and I had seen them on FaceTime and we would text back and forth just about house stuff. So I had a vague knowledge of them. We're like acquaintances at this point. And I'm like, I'm going to live with them. It'll be good or not. I don't know. We'll see. So I knew them. And then I knew some people that like lived in the area. And then I also knew like my boyfriend at the time and his family that was there. So that was about it. And then studying wise, it's a lot of like studying the Bible. Like throughout school, the first year you read pretty much the entire Bible. And then they teach you how to read scripture from like a very historical perspective.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a different way to read scripture, which I really liked it. You're like looking at Hebrew, like the original languages it was written in, and comparing it to how our language is. It's like, oh, this actually says this in the original translation of it. So I don't know. That was really interesting. There was that. And then also just learning practical things like how to teach and preach and pray for people and all that, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But it was definitely like life-changing. Surprisingly, also, there was a lot of learning about how to like deal with emotions.
Interesting.
Which I thought was really good for me.
Do you still use those practices?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, I don't know, I get anxious about things, but.
How dare you?
I know. Forbid.
Yeah.
But I think like big life events, I handle them very much differently now than I would have.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about spirituality in general. Like, did you grow up going to church and like, were your parents super Christian? Like, what led you to get to Bethel, which is, at least from the outside looking in, a very Christian institution?
Yeah. I mean, we were at church 6 days a week. So.
Oh, brother.
My parents were very all about you should have a relationship with God. And like when you read scripture and you pray, you should ask God like what he's saying rather than, you know, just listening to what some pastor or preacher tells you to believe. It was always, they've always been like this, even with things that aren't spiritual, but it's always like, you are smart, like you can build your own beliefs about things. And so there was that, yeah. And my dad he wasn't a big churchy person. He has a lot of church hurt, like a lot of people do. And so we just didn't spend a lot of time in church. Like if I went to church, it was because I went with my friends. But he's very, very well studied. Like he had a mentor when he was older that taught him how to study the Bible. And so I'd say he's like a mini theologian. Like It's crazy.
Okay.
I know. But I don't know. I like always believed, but it was until I went to Brazil that I was like, yeah, God's actually real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever experience your dad or your family in general getting crap for not being always in church?
I definitely think that it might be a hot take, but I think that it's one of those things that a lot of Christians like look down on. They're like, oh, y'all don't go to church. I'm kind of like, well, are we living our life like according to the word? Are we being positive and are we loving people? I think that matters a bit more than just being in an institution all the time.
Totally.
And also like just things that people experience in the church. I'm like, I kind of understand why people are like, I don't really want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was out of church for like 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't even say that I'm in church now, but I just recently started going back to one around the corner from here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been nice. And I'm just going super duper slow because like I've got some of the church hurt stuff from people and from just God that I feel as well. So I'm just like, let me take some baby steps.
Yeah.
Please, no one judge me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard, like, especially in the South, in the Bible Belt. Everyone expects you to be
in church,
whatever they want you
super
to be.
involved in church.
Yeah, and that's freaking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got crap to deal with. You don't know my story.
Yeah, I definitely feel that because I'm from a small town in Texas. And so every single church is just very, like I'm non-denominational, but it's very much in its denomination. And so there's different ways that I feel like you're put in a box, which like, that's my own opinion, but.
No, I am with you.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, just the things that I believe, I feel like are very different than a lot of churches believe. So it's very hard to find a good one.
Yeah. Also being from a small town in Alabama, I feel like your identity is found in what church you go to, not necessarily the Christian ideal of your identity should be found in Christ, which is kind of gross. Because like, what if I'm not who you think I am? I just happen to go to this church that you assume all these people are like this.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It really does.
It does.
Yeah. I definitely think that being a good human is much more important than being in a building every week, but you know.
Yeah. When I got hired at Centricity, I mean, I was still out of my church phase. And I talked to my boss. I was like, hey, like, I'm not really going to church. Like, I still am a Christian. I would say that. But like, I'm worried that this is going to be weird for people inside the label and outside the label. Like, oh, does he not go to church? Whatever. He's not a Christian, blah, blah, blah. And John was like, it's okay. Take your time. Come back, like we wax and we wane. Like faith is weird. Like you're just in this place right now. Who knows? It'll change. But yeah, I'm standing behind you. I was like, oh, geez, I needed to hear that. Like, I don't think I had ever heard that from.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's the best. So I'm like, geez, like maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
So people like him have drawn me back to faith, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
We're playing a really good song right now. Hopefully you can't hear it, but it's a jam. We're going to take another quick break. We'll come back and probably get into the questions.
Heck yeah.
Welcome back. We have now reached the part of the show where we're getting into the questions. The same 10 questions that I'm asking all 12 guests that I'm having on this show. Are you ready? Okay, we're going to talk about the first. We'll talk about the first 3. We'll do another break and then we'll continue. Question 1. Do you remember when we first met and what you thought about me?
That's such a good question.
Thank you.
Yes, I do remember. And I thought you were very quiet and reserved.
That's still true.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also just felt nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's doing. Like,
you thought that?
Yeah.
That's so not true.
Didn't we meet at that coffee place in Franklin?
We sure did.
Yeah. Because we were like talking about me being an intern.
Yes.
Yeah.
John, my boss John, had already spoken to you because you were from the same town in Texas that he grew up in, which he claims no one is from there, but we have evidence that someone is from there. So we were trying to find a new intern for our A&R section at Centricity. Someone was leaving, and he was like, oh, I found someone who might do it. My nephew is her golf coach. And she's going to come from Andrews. And we're like, what? That's not real. So y'all had coffee before we even met.
Yeah.
So he set us up later, and we met at this coffee shop. And yeah, just had a nice little introductory conversation. Do you remember what we talked about?
We talked about, like, I think things I have done and, like, what I was interested in, what made me interested in music and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. That's, like, the main things I remember.
Yeah. What was that meeting with John like? Had you met him before or no?
I'd never met John. It's crazy, though, because, like, I think his wife's parents, not his wife's parents, Coach Bergen's mom, they, like, live across the street from me.
What?
Yeah, all their family lives, like, right near me.
That's
so John
weird.
is like, I'm going to Andrews, and I'm like, oh, wave at my house when you drive by. Like,
that's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I might have gotten that whole family thing wrong, but
no, it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, the first meeting with John, I was just nervous. I was like, this man's like seasoned in the music industry.
I feel that.
Yeah, but he made it so easy. And John is just amazing. Like, so easy to talk to, very personable.
Yeah.
And he's so funny. Like, effortlessly funny.
Can we stop talking about John?
He's going to watch this and be like, they're hyping me up.
No, he sucks. He's awful. Yeah, I remember the first meeting. Like, we grabbed our coffee. This place, McGavick's, is in a hotel. So, like, we grabbed coffee and then we went into the lobby to sit in their nicer chairs. That was great. I don't remember what we talked about either. Because, like, you were the second intern that we had since I started. And they let me be in charge of hiring or bringing on the interns. So I had only talked to one person before, and she ended up being our intern for 6 months.
Yeah.
So you were the second interview I ever had. It was just like, yeah, what's your story? Why do you want to do this? It was already a done deal because John had said, we're doing this.
See, I didn't think he was. I was like, oh my God, are you good enough?
So it was just really a formality, but it was nice.
So funny now because I was like shivering in my boots.
Oh my gosh, that's so wild. But no, it was a good meeting, I thought. I remember asking something about, do you think it's going to be difficult as a woman in the music industry? And you said yes. I don't remember what else you said, but I remember that question at least.
Yeah.
It was good. I think we talked for like an hour and a half maybe, which is kind of normal for me. Like usually any coffee or lunch meeting I have, it's an hour and a half. And my mark of like, is this person cool? If I'm meeting them for the first time is, can we talk for an hour unbroken? No awkwardness.
Yeah.
And we did that. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Solid.
So you were an intern with us for 7 months, I believe. I think.
Like 9.
Was it 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lord. You started in February.
Yeah, like end of January.
Yeah. Well, I think it was right after your birthday. I think so. Because I would have said happy birthday to you in person. I know I did not do that the first time.
I don't remember. It was a long time. It's on my LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure it was like 8 or 9 months though.
Yeah. But it was a great time. Like, what was your experience working with and around us?
It was always just so fun. Y'all are so fun to hang out with. I feel like I learned so much stuff. So much stuff. I still use all that knowledge all the time.
Really?
When I talk to people sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was like a lot of listening to music.
Yeah.
Lots of listening to music, lots of lunches. Yeah.
True.
Love the lunches.
Did you have any favorite places we went to eat?
Oh, goodness. Wild Ginger.
Oh, God. That's a plug right there.
Literally
go to Wild Ginger.
my favorite.
If you're in Cool Springs, Tennessee, go to Wild Ginger.
Yeah.
Amazing sushi.
Fire.
Okay.
We also need to try Sunda.
Sunda is amazing. We need to go on Sunday
night. I've never
night.
been to Sunda.
We're changing that ASAP. Because like Sunday, they have like music industry day where like they have like a half price menu if you're in the industry. Just go in and say like, yeah, I work in the music industry. And
you just say, yeah,
yes,
I work in music.
Yeah. And they've never like checked me like, bro, are you sure? Like, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
We have to go.
We're going to go.
Holy moly.
Full
Okay.
send.
Yeah. Well, I can say from our perspective, we enjoyed having you. You were a great hard worker. You had a great eye for talent. You were a great hang. Like, that's really all we want from someone in A&R.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Question 2, which I wish I could remember, but whatever. That's why I have this. How do you feel about our relationship now?
I feel like you're one of my best friends.
Oh. Okay, I think I need to stop asking this question because I kind of got a similar answer last week.
Did you really?
I'm not fishing for compliments with these. I thought these
we know, it's fine.
That's so nice. You're one of mine too,
Yeah.
of course. And I'm not just saying that, I swear to God. But expound on that. Please tell me how much you love me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I felt like we just spent a lot of time together.
We did.
Like driving to our lunches, just being in A&R meetings and all that. Like, I feel like when you spend that much time together, you're going to become besties. And then also, you're literally my concert buddy, too.
That's true.
We always
Except
go to
Morgan
shows.
Wallen.
Yeah. Ella was there for that one.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I just feel like you're very easy to talk to.
Mm.
Yeah. And you're just a very safe person.
Thank you.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate that. I try to be the safe person in my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that comes across.
Yeah.
I feel great about our relationship. I was a little nervous to see how it would evolve after we stopped seeing each other like twice a week.
I know.
I'm like, oh no, like, am I going to be a good enough friend to keep this going and like to make sure that she feels supported in our relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I've done a good job. I don't know.
You have.
Did you have those fears? Like when you were leaving, like, oh no, like things are going to change?
I knew things would change, but I feel like as I've grown and like gotten older, I'm like, I have the room to be intentional about friendships, even if we don't see each other every day. Like even when I left Lululemon, I'm really close to all the people there. And I was like, oh no. But then I'm like, actually, I can trust in the fact that I'm still going to talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is being intentional in a friendship like you?
Oh, I think just like making an effort to check on your people. Like just be like, hey, how are you doing? Or even just being like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Do you want to get coffee? And then also I'm the type of person that I'm like constantly in contact with people. It's like sending them TikToks or chatting on Instagram about things, just having a little banter at all times.
Yeah.
I think just being like active in their life and like caring about them. So
that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, and we talked about this, me and Cypress talked about this in the last episode, do you ever feel like, oh, I don't want to reach out to this person because I feel like I'm bothering them or I'm a burden? Because I feel that way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that prevents me from being a better friend than I could be. But it's all in my head.
Yeah.
Do you struggle with that?
I think it would depend on the person.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which like sounds kind of bad, but
no.
Some people I'm like, I'm not gonna text them all the time, but other people I'm like, I'll text them whenever, you know?
Yeah.
I think I'm like more choosy about when I like reach out to certain people and about what.
Yeah.
So, no. Other than that, I don't really think about it too much.
Okay. I've got 2 friends, one that I went to high school with, and the other is his cousin who we hung out with a bunch. Garrett and Adam, if you're watching, what's up? Garrett will probably be on one of these episodes, but him and his cousin, we have talked like almost every day for the past 7-8 years. Just sending memes back and forth on Instagram.
True friendship right
yes,
there.
absolutely. And like my best friend, Jonathan Campbell, lives, like 25 minutes from me. I don't talk to him all the time, maybe once every 3 weeks. But like me and Garrett and Adam, we have to talk almost every day. We have to share something funny. And like, it's so interesting how friendship, the definition of that has evolved. Like I would say those 2 guys are some of my best friends. And we hardly talk about things of substance, but like we're always interacting with each other. And like, I need that. If that went away, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm one of your best friends. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Question 3. Let me pull it up. Oh, brother. How can I be a better friend to you?
Oh.
And you better have a real answer for this. I don't want to hear, oh, you're perfect.
Oh, you're perfect. I think. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I've never thought of this.
I'm sorry. It's a difficult question to ask, for sure.
It is.
Because I have to be secure enough in myself to be like, okay, I want to actually work on this. And not be like, oh, you think this and you just never told me and now I'm pissed off. Like, no, like, I would actually love to know. Like, I'd love to be here for you better if I can.
I genuinely don't know. Because I feel like you're already really, like, good friend. And that's not to be like, oh, you're perfect. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any other ways. Honestly.
Okay. Are there friendships in your life where you're like, I'm confident that I am the better friend in this relationship, but if I say anything about it, it's going to ruin things?
For sure.
Do you have experiences where you have said something like, hey, I need this from you?
Depends. Yeah, sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, this is how things are. And they're just going to be that way and it's okay. But other times I'm like, I feel like if I'm being treated badly or, I don't know, anything along those lines, then I will say something. But if it's kind of like, this is kind of just how we are, then is it worth saying something and causing ruckus? Nah.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, I have said something.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Not great.
Were they like super defensive? Is the thing you brought up something that was like really like, okay, this is an obvious problem and you should know this?
Yeah, and they didn't care that much. But I think that friendship is just out of season now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's hard to hear.
It sucks.
Yeah. I think there have been a few times in like my closest friendships where I've been like, hey, I need this from you. And like trying not to be accusatory or angry when I say it. Just like, you did this thing that hurt me, or I need more of this. And it's come across well.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I'm always so afraid to like upset the status quo. I'm like, if this is how things are, it's fine. Like I don't want to rock the boat. But like having and finding the courage to say something to someone you care about for betterment of yourself is very difficult.
Yeah. Belts.
Yeah. Okay, that's the first section. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Welcome back. Here we are again for the next set of questions. How you doing so far?
Good.
Good?
Vibing.
Vibing. Okay.
I use that word so much.
I mean, this is a great place to do it. It's really comfy and cozy.
Yeah,
and
it's so cute.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Question 4. What matters most to you right now?
Oh, dang. Probably friendships, relationships.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What got you to this place to make you realize, okay, geez, I need to focus on friendships right now?
I think I just realized that I really need people. Because my tendency is to be very independent. Like, I'll just do it by myself. Yeah. Which I'm still that way. Yeah. But yeah. I think that lately I just feel like energized around people. So I'm like, I want to like steward my friendships and relationships at the moment. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you naturally more introverted, extroverted?
I feel like I'm a good blend. I do get really drained if I'm constantly doing something with a bunch of people. I like have to have my time to just sit and be by myself. Yeah. But I also find myself very extroverted sometimes. I also think it's where I am and who I'm with, too. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say the answer would be before you came on this answer? Like, what was it in the last season of your life?
I think in the last season, I was just very worried about probably money. Just worried about living.
Yeah.
That was the struggle. Yeah. That, and then also probably God was a very much bigger focus. Which everyone's like, God should be first.
Sure.
And I'm like, we know that it's harder than that.
Yeah, definitely. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what the answer is for me. Like I said in the other episode, I try not to think about these questions before I come in for a record. I know I came up with them, but I want it to be as fresh as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Man. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think right now, trying to focus on things that are good and true is what is most important to me.
Such a better answer than mine.
No. You had a great answer. I'm in kind of a depressive episode right now. This week and a half specifically has been very difficult for me. And I noticed that I'm in one of these episodes because there are some tells for me, one of which I don't want to cook anything, and I don't like cooking really at all, but I do it because I need to eat food and I want to save money. So I don't want to be going out all the time. So I will pretty consistently cook something every night for dinner. Usually I've been skipping breakfast. I've been off of that for the moment, so that is fine. And lunch is usually taken care of with my job. I'm usually out getting lunch with someone. So for dinner, that's really the only thing I have to cook for the day.
Yeah.
But the past week and a half, I've been I don't want to cook anything. And that's usually a sign for me oh, geez, what's going on?
Something's wrong.
Yeah. And I hyper obsess cleaning stuff, especially my bathroom or my room or something. So I will clean stuff for hours. And of course it's a good thing to have done. But for me, it's oh, okay, I'm avoiding something. What am I doing? So a few points in time this week, I've been okay, let me focus on myself. What am I going through? What am I trying to tell myself? And this week is especially difficult, and we'll probably talk more about it in a different question. But literally today, the day we're recording, was supposed to be my 6-year marriage anniversary. So that's been difficult to consider. And I think a lot of doubt and depression and anxiety has come up again. What am I doing with my life? Where am I going? I screwed up. Oh my gosh. And trying to remember the things that are true and real. Here's where I am right now, physically. Here's where I am emotionally. These are the people who love and care about me. I should believe those truths. I deserve to believe those truths. That's the thing that's big right now in this moment. And I don't know how long this episode will last. Not this episode we're recording.
Yeah.
This depressive episode will last. But I know that hanging on the true and the real things will get me out of it. I don't have a lot of history of listening to those things. So I'm a little nervous and worried about my mental state at the moment. But I'm trying to hold on to the true and the real things.
That's good.
Thanks.
And that's what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Next question. Oh, geez. Okay. Number 5. What are you holding on to that's holding you back?
Fear.
That was quick. Okay.
Immediate answer is always going to be fear, probably.
Okay. Why is that?
So I don't know. We talked a while ago about how I'm creating a song.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of my friends that does music and stuff. And he was like, why are you so freaked out about this? He was like, this is something that you're creating. It's are you creating for you or are you intentionally creating for other people? And I feel like it's a blend of both.
Yeah.
But I feel like fear dominates what I'm making. I mean, which like that sounds wrong, but I think it's just like, I wouldn't say that like fear is the root of what I'm creating. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Sure, whatever.
I'm just saying like when it comes to releasing something and working on things and doing all that, I constantly have this little thought in my head that's like, what are people actually going to think about this? Is it going to be good?
Yeah.
Are they going to hate it? Are you going to get roasted on TikTok for it?
Oh, jeez.
I remember a few months ago, people were like roasting this guy that had created this song and he was like marketing it. He was paying for it to be shown everywhere. People were just like going off. And I was like, no, I couldn't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, they were being haters. And the song was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, y'all need to relax.
Do you think fear sometimes is a good thing when it comes to creation? While you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Some nice dead air for you. I think the answer is yes. Like just in small doses. Like having that thought of like, oh no, is anyone gonna like this? Mm-hmm. If it's followed by, screw that. I'm doing it. But like, thank you, fear, for driving me. Be like, yeah, no, I do like this. We are doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's when it's a little bit helpful.
I think, having like a healthy dose. I don't know if I would even say it's fear, but more just respect for like being honest with yourself.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we create things and we're low key just a little bit like, I don't know, is this good or is it not?
Oh, yeah.
I think you have to be honest with yourself, but also, I guess fear plays like a little bit of a role.
What if you didn't have to be honest with yourself? Or just like...
You just do whatever.
Yeah.
Some people just do whatever.
I envy those people who don't overthink. It's just like, yeah, this is great.
And it's
never. Actually not.
Yeah.
But like their confidence makes it great. Yeah, I could never be that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to learn from them.
For sure. They've got like a childlike view on all of it. Mm-hmm. Just like, no, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it's cool. I'm like, what? Yeah. You're not overthinking every step of it?
Yeah. I just think fear holds me back from a lot of other things too.
Like what? Of course, you've got the creative musical aspect of all of it, but like, where else are you seeing that hold you back in life?
A lot in creativity, but probably like relationships too. I feel like there's always the limiting thing. It's like, oh, you have to be really open to have closeness with people, and being open is not my strong suit.
Okay, where does that...
it depends on the person, but...
Sure. Where do you think that comes from?
Hurt. Getting hurt a lot when I've just been like, no, I'll be open with everyone. But I also like have to take responsibility for that because boundaries are a good thing. You should have
for
them.
Sure are. Yeah. Yeah, something that happened once the divorce happened was like, okay, I'm going to do the thing I normally do, and I'll just be isolated, and I won't tell people. But then I thought, you know what? That's hardly ever worked for me.
Yeah.
What if I do the complete opposite? I'm just open with everyone who wants to hear. And like, some people got the full story with all the details. Some people got an abridged story. And I'm still just like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to be as open as we can. And thankfully, in my case, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I'm here for you, which is what I needed to hear. But I'm so glad that I did the opposite of what I normally do. And I was open with everyone. And I was very afraid while doing it. But still, just been like...
But you still did it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway.
And you should be proud of yourself.
I am.
Heck yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah, that's right. I am. Yeah. Full stop. What do you think is holding people back from having a better relationship with you? The people who are already in your life. You think they're afraid of you?
Probably me, yeah. I don't think they're afraid of me. I think that I just, for certain people, I very much have like I wouldn't say a wall, but there's a line where I'm like, this is how much you're going to get of me. And I think in some ways that's okay.
Sure.
Like some people get more than others, and it just depends like how much I trust you and how like tight knit we are, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah. I remember sharing my full divorce story with you. And this was kind of early on in our relationship. We were going to Wild Ginger. Where it was just us two having lunch. And I talked almost the whole lunch about my business. And you were a great friend to just listen and be like, that sucks. Because there's really nothing to say.
It did suck.
It still does. There's really nothing, there's no good response to have after hearing a story like that. But I just remember feeling like I can be open with her.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I felt that.
I think that was like the moment where we're like, yeah, besties.
Yeah. But like, I'm glad I did because like we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
If I hadn't, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good moment to be open.
Yeah. I guess if you learn anything from this question, be open with people. It might get you somewhere. Okay, we're going to move on.
Okay.
God, these are difficult for me today. Oh, God. Number 6. When was the last time you made yourself proud?
Oh, goodness. Do you already have an answer for this for yourself?
God. I can conjure something. You know what? Honestly, it might be right now.
Really?
Just like, because I had forgotten that we had scheduled this like on the day of my anniversary. I was like, there's no way. I can't do this. Like, it's going to be too emotional. It's going to be too difficult. I was like, you know what? No, we might talk about it. It might be helpful to talk about it with someone I love and trust. So like, and the rest of the internet. But I was like, you know, we're gonna do it. So just me having the confidence in myself to be as open as I'm being so far.
Yeah.
And being like, this isn't gonna tie me down. Like, it's just a day that happened. Like, yes, I'll reflect about it and I'll think about it, but like, it's not gonna stop me from being me and doing what I want to do. I should do it anyway. So like, I'm proud of myself for not just staying in bed all day and just wallowing. And if I did that, that's fine too. But like, I think this is evidence that I'm continually trying to move on. And I'm proud of that. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Sorry.
You should be proud of yourself, though. And then, like, people also, like, that's another thing I love about being creative and making things is, like, people hear your story and they're like, oh, wow, I relate to that. And it makes them feel seen. So I think it's good that you're sharing and being
if someone
open.
feels seen by this, you better let me know. You better reach out and tell me this is worth it.
Yeah. I can think of a time, but it's like...
A time?
Yeah.
What is that time?
A few weeks ago, I like went and I filmed a show for an artist that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
And I was proud of myself then.
That's great.
Yeah. I felt really resilient that day.
That was an interesting day, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I felt, every time I do videography, I feel in my element. If you know what that feels like.
I do.
Yeah.
What is it about that drives you and makes you feel like you?
Gosh, I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it is. But every time when I'm like making a video, even if I'm just recording like something live, there's an aspect of it that's like, wow, there's beauty in this. And when people see it, they're going to be like, ooh, that's pretty. Like,
yeah.
I think it's that. And then also I think I just absolutely love it. I don't know. Yeah, which is crazy because remember in college I was like, no video.
Yes, I remember.
But also, there's no one to tell me, you have to film it like this. You have to do this. I'm like, I am free to do it however I want.
Yeah. What was it about like the structured element of what they were trying to teach you that you were just like, oh, no, it's too restrictive? Like, shouldn't you know what to do before you break the rules or whatever the phrase is? I don't know.
Yeah, I do still agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, I think that it was mainly just how boring it was.
Okay.
To be completely honest. Because we were making such, like, we're talking about framing and panning and different angles and all these different, like, theories and cinematography and all this stuff. And that's all interesting and great. But the things that we're, like, assigned to film, I'm like, this feels like banging my head on the wall. Like,
Interesting.
It's not fun. Which, of course, I learned. I think the most fun we did was we had to remake the trailer for The Breakfast Club.
That's cool.
And we all had to act in it and, like, put it all together and edit it all so it looked really similar, which I could probably find if you want to see it.
I would
have it on
love
my
to
laptop,
see it.
I'm pretty sure.
You need to send it.
But I remember that was fun. But even then, it was like, I'm just remaking something someone's already made. Like, I want to make something that's my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And then also, I felt like I was in my element then because I love music and I love video. And it was like the two worlds were cohesive. And I was like, this is awesome.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Going back to the question 6. Do you find it difficult to find pride in yourself?
Yeah. I'm very self-critical. I also feel like I'm really self-aware too.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah. Things happen and I'm like, I think about it and then I'm like, oh, I'm being critical too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a great combo.
Yeah. I feel like you have so much to be proud of.
Oh.
Can you think of a time before a few weeks ago that you were proud of yourself?
I think I was proud of myself when I just like packed up my car and moved to California.
That was a long time ago.
It was. But I was very proud of myself because I was like, so many people were like, you're going to move to California? You know, I'm from the South.
Of course.
From Texas. And they're like, you're going where?
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I'm going. And I think I was proud of myself because I did it. Like I said I was going to do it and I did it.
Yeah.
And same thing with moving here. I was like, I'm going to move. No one's going to stop me.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah. What do you think you're good at?
I think I'm good at that. I feel like when I really, really set my mind on something, I will do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's one of my endearing traits.
Yeah. So in the future, when you're trying to find things that you're proud of, maybe it's those things. Like you set your mind to doing this thing, you did it. And even if it's just like, I'm going to go to the grocery store. You did that. You thought about it, and there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully you'll think more highly of yourself in the future.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, really. Okay. We're going to take another break, come back with the last 4 questions. We'll see you in a second.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Here we are. Are you holding up? Are you good?
So good.
You're so good.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's better than last time.
Besides the like teeny little growls in my tummy.
See, you didn't have to bring it up. I don't think anyone would have known. I didn't know, and I'm sitting right here.
No one's gonna know.
Well, we'll get to this super quick so we can go eat something and you can be back to normal.
I already said it was super good, so.
Okay. Okay, here we are. Question 7.
Right.
What was the last piece of art you consumed that inspired you?
Consumed.
Yes. Music, movie, whatever. I do have an answer.
Give me your answer first.
And this...
I think we should do all the categories.
Oh!
Music, movie, and then what does the other one like?
I don't know, just...
Actual like a painting?
Whoa, look at you. I had not considered this. Okay.
I need to go to art galleries around here because I know there are some.
Yeah. That makes this so much more difficult, which I love. My answer was going to be Dune 2, which, of course, that's an evergreen answer for me. It is always inspiring me. It inspired me to make this show, amongst 2 other things. But, like, doing something on that large of a scale, that commercial, telling a story that dense, and it being so well done, I think it's just masterful. So seeing that on a big screen 10 times, I might add, was just so amazing. And then every time I watched it, I was like, man, that's a great movie. I want to go see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have that experience with a lot of media. It's just like, wow, that was so good right after it ends. But like, I got to re-listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Dune 2 for sure. Let me think of a musical one. Man, I really like this song, This Could Be, by Reuben James. Came out last year. It's kind of like throwback to like old 70s R&B, jazz, soul stuff. But it came out last year. This guy from the UK. And it's just so good. Like the opening is just so good. And like the groove, the pocket, it takes you back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you didn't like grow up with that music, which I kind of did a little bit through my parents. So it reminds me of that. It's just like, man, this feels so good. I love that song. I might have to think about an art piece. Do you have something while I'm thinking? Music, movie?
I don't think I have an art piece.
Yeah, I don't know if I do. I'm not that cultured.
I like the stained glass windows. I'll say
That's
that.
a good
That is an
answer.
art piece, technically.
Damn, I can't steal that now. I can't piggyback on that.
Movie-wise, La La Land is always inspires me just because it's so beautiful.
It is.
The color grading, the cinematography, I'm just like, oh, the story. I'm like, yes, this is gorgeous. So La La Land, Dune is a great one.
Absolutely.
Dune is beautiful.
Yes.
Same with like the newer Star Wars.
Sure,
The
yeah.
cinematography in the newer Star Wars, I'm like, chef's kiss.
Okay.
So good. Also, I've been watching this show on Netflix called The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
It has Theo James in it.
I didn't see the movie. I haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, you need to. Also Interstellar. That's
we
a good
can't
one too.
talk about Interstellar again. We already talked about it in the last episode, and I can't go back there.
It's okay, we will. But anyways, this show's called The Gentleman. It has Theo James in it, and they're like in England, and it's a bunch of like crime and like cartels and.
I love crime. That's great.
All the bad things. But the cinematography in that is really good as well.
I might need to watch it.
Yeah, I love it. So that's like covers movies and shows. Songs, there's so many. I'd say I think it's called Wind Horse by Of the Trees.
Okay.
Something about that song is just so good. I'm obsessed. Y'all gotta listen to it. That one, and I Just Need, it's Lyra, and I think his name is Daniel Allen, who produced it.
Cool.
I could be like plugging someone else in Nashville, but I know that's a producer.
I'll bleep it out if it's wrong.
I think that's correct though. But I think that song's really inspiring because not just the song itself, but the story behind their creating it. She just kind of was like, they were creating it and they were kind of like, oh, it's a cool song. And they dropped it and it blew up and now it's in like commercials and it's everywhere. And it's like the #1 song on the EDM charts right now, I think.
Let's go.
Yeah. You gotta listen to that one too, but the VIP version, it's cooler.
Okay. Wow. Look at you. Jeez. What do you do when you hear or see something that inspires you? Like, how are you proactive after you get that inspiration? Do you have a process? Like, do you write stuff down? Like, oh, I had this idea for this. Let me write it down and work on it later. Or is it just a feeling that follows you?
Most of the time, it's just a feeling that follows me. If I get an idea from it that I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down. Like, I'll write it down. Or sometimes I'll even like execute whatever I was inspired by or to do. But mainly the feeling, I just get this like internal like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Like this like passion for it. Also, I feel like a lot of my ideas are very, I need other people focused.
Interesting.
Like whenever I have ideas for videos and stuff, I always need someone to like act it out. And it's really hard to nail down one of my friends to do that.
Why can't you do it?
I think that I don't want to go through the trouble of like filming myself. I think I'm such a control freak about how I video things. And so if I'm filming it myself, it's like first off, it would be way more time consuming because then I have to figure out how I can see angles. And then if I'm filming myself, I'm not going to be able to execute certain things I want to do with the camera because I'm not holding the camera and the camera has to be stationary, or I have to get a drone and fly it around in the angles that I want. And it's just so complicated.
Yeah.
Like I would rather just give myself, like get a subject for the video know what they're going to do, and then execute that in the moment. And sometimes I'll get on a little whim and I'm like, I thought we were going to do it that way, but we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you feel, and maybe you don't have enough experience in this, but like in the songwriting sense, if you were just writing the song, you weren't performing it, if the artist was like, oh, that's cool, let me take it this way instead, would you be like, well, actually, it should be like this? Or like, yeah, let's do that. Go for that. Like, if you had a subject in a video, be like, well, what if it's like this? Would you be like, well, no, this is the vision I had. It should be like this.
I think I'd be open to other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to be added in collaboration. But I don't know, like with the video, if it was solely my project and I was trying to really portray one specific thing and they were like, let's go off on a tangent, then I'd kind of be like, nope, like I want to stay to the point because I have a structure for it.
Yeah.
But if we're just like say we're creating a music video and I'm like, I have these ideas, but the artist is like, oh, well, I see this vision for it. Then I'm going to be like, yeah, let's try it, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing with songs. But something I'm realizing is that when I write songs with other people, I'm like, I like this song. I want the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't really know. Do I want to be an artist? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
We shall see.
Random question. Do you have a favorite music video of all time?
Yeah.
I have two.
100%.
What's yours?
I really like Taylor Swift's video for Wildest Dreams.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's just really pretty. I think that she really creates an atmosphere. And then the song also has its own, like, just makes you feel like you're in the song.
Yeah. I love that song and that record. So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then the other one, I'd have to look it up. It's like in my favorites on YouTube. But it's all aerial drone videography. Okay, basically, cool. And it's following the guy who's singing and he's walking on this like black sand beach.
That's fire.
Yeah, in like Greenland or Iceland or something.
I think NF has a video like that.
Yeah.
That I think Joshua.
Yeah, I was about to ask because I know he's done some of that stuff.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I can hear the song in my head. I can't think what it's called.
My two favorites are Roses by Outkast. It's probably the earliest memory I have of seeing a music video that impacted me.
Yeah.
And number two is Smooth Criminal, the cover by Alien Ant Farm. So fun and weird and strange.
Yeah.
But like one of my favorite covers ever because it's a rock cover of that Michael Jackson song. It just feels so good and they made it their own. And the video is just expounding on that. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'm like thinking of other examples for
all of these. If you think of more, just throw them out there.
The movie
randomly.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk is great. I mean,
Harry Styles.
I need to rewatch
Styles also
Dunkirk.
has a video. I think it's Sign of the Times where he's like out on cliffs and there's a lot of aerial stuff going on. I think that one's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question 8. Who do you know personally that inspires you to be better?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, this is difficult for me. So
what's your answer?
First, I don't have
like you go
I
first.
do not have one, but I will be thinking about it as we sit here.
Brief pause. No.
Yeah. We'll be back in a second. No.
Oh my gosh.
This one is very difficult for me. And like I had the same experience last record. I had no answer. And then I came up with one that I thought was good and true and real. Like I wasn't just making it up, person. But yeah, it's so hard to conjure up someone who means a lot to you in an immediate moment, as you can tell.
It's just someone that inspires you to be better. That was the question.
Someone you know personally, not just like, oh, Taylor Swift, or unless you know her personally. If you do,
T-Swizzle.
give me the number.
Gotta go call her. Be right back, guys. Oh my gosh. I think I have a few answers, actually.
Please go for it, because I'm still
First
thinking.
off, I'm going to go with John.
Okay, yeah. Great.
I think that just his knowledge of everything is just so inspiring to me.
Yeah.
So probably that. He inspires me to, like, learn more and grow in that. After that, I would say my friend Michael Washington. His artist name's Mikey J.
Okay.
I think that, I think his creativity and like how he is marketing his music is really inspiring to me. I think it's very well structured, and you can tell he like really cares about what he's doing.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd say probably my friend Kaylin too.
Okay.
I have like a lot of people I could say.
Well, good for you.
But Kaylin's just very like wise.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. So her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe I have my answer.
Okay.
My friend Kevin, who I don't really know incredibly well, but we work in the same industry and we've had coffee and lunch a couple times together, and like we just feel like we were meant to be friends, I think.
Yeah.
Like he's a little bit older than me, like he's got a wife and 2 kids. But just he's such a good dude.
What does Kevin do?
He does A&R at a different label. But he's also a songwriter and producer. And
okay, I'm not thinking of the same Kevin.
No, you're not. I don't know who you're thinking of. And like he might be on this show. I asked him. We'll see if he is on the show, and if he is, then
fingers crossed.
Yes, that's great. But like I just respect him so much, and I think he's so wise and so kind, and like he's knowledgeable. He's well read. He's a genuine dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can be hard to find, especially like he comes from the country world. Like he played drums for Rascal Flatts on tour, like right before they called it quits, really. So he's seen a lot of things and been around a lot of people, but still for him to be as wonderful and as genuine as he is, I just respect that so much. And I love being around him. I'm sure everyone else does too. He's just such a solid dude. So this episode, it's Kevin Rooney. Yeah, good Lord. That's such a difficult question. I gotta stop asking this question. But whatever, it's okay. We got there, and you had so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of more.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, number 9. Oh, brother. Do you still believe in love? If so, why?
I think yes.
Okay.
But I think that it doesn't look to me how it would have like a long time ago.
Interesting.
Like my idea of like love is very different than how I would have thought of it like 2 years ago.
Okay, what changed?
I think that I always thought that you were just gonna be so like, that is gonna be this big like huge monumentous thing, which maybe it might be someday, I don't know. I think to me now it's more of a choice. Like you choose to love the people around you. You choose to love people that you're with in relationship. And I think that it's really just like put in our face by society and like the media that love is just easy and it's rainbow and rainbows and butterflies and everything's happy all the time. But I don't really think that that's the case. Like I think real life is like you're going to have debates with the other person.
Yeah.
You're going to have moments where you're like, actually, I don't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
But I think that it is. I just think that you have to be very mindful and like careful of like the people that you choose to be with, you know? Which I think you can be careful and it still doesn't work, but you know.
Yeah. That's good. How do you see and feel love in your friendships and then in your romantic relationships? Or how do you want to see and feel love?
I think the main thing is I just want to feel like safe. I think in a ton of relationships in my life, not really currently, but like in the past, there's always been this aspect of like, oh, I don't really know if I feel like I'm safe. Like not necessarily in like, oh my gosh, they're gonna like beat me up safe, but more emotionally safe. And I think probably the next person I do date, they will have to be very, very safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like kind. Kindness is a big thing to me. And also just willing to take ownership of when mistakes happen.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And you can only really desire that from having the opposite.
Which sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Man, do I still believe in love? I was very afraid of this question today specifically.
Yeah.
My answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. This has been a week of great highs and lows. Like, we had a party for a signing of a new artist that I'm going to get to work with, Rachel.
I love her.
So excited. She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yes. Had that. I had a wedding last night of two friends that I love dearly. And it was amazing. Like, so well done. So nice. Like, so fancy. Like, there were people I knew there. So, like, hanging with them and, like, celebrating them was amazing. But just being in a room of holy matrimony was difficult for me.
Especially the timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredibly difficult. So I don't want to be as foolish as to say, yes, I believe in love, but not for me. It's okay for everyone else, though. That would be stupid.
That's how it feels sometimes, though.
But that's how it feels sometimes, though.
Yeah.
And right now, specifically, I don't know if I believe in it for me.
Yeah.
I want to, and like I know what that means. Like if I don't believe in it for me, then I can't really show it to other people or to myself. And that's not helping anyone. But it's freaking hard.
I think it's hard because I feel like on the surface, like if you're a really logical person, you can be like, oh, well, I don't know. If I just say that it's not for me, it's easier to cope with the feeling that I actually do believe it is for me, but where is it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I have a problem with the L word right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hearing it from people, saying it to people, and it kind of gives me like a flash of anxiety when someone says it to me. I'm like, can I say it back? If I do I mean it? I don't want to just say it and not mean it. I'm feeling it right now. This is like, this word has so much weight to it, and we're just
people
throwing
just
it
throw
around. Yeah. And like the people who have said it to me recently, I have come to the conclusion that yes, I do believe them. And then like they said it for a reason. They mean it. But still, especially in the moment, it's like, are you sure?
For real?
Like, are you sure? And can I say this back and mean it? God, it's hard. It's so hard right now. So yeah, I guess that's it. Jeez. Okay, let's freaking move on. Oh my God.
That's a good question.
Thank you. I need to erase that one as well. Let's just stop the show altogether. Okay, here we are at the last one. What do you want to be remembered for?
Goodness. I think just loving people and being seen as someone that was like willing to go above and beyond for like the people that she cares about. Oh, and also like being someone of my word. When I say I do something, I'm going to do it.
Where does that come from?
I think times where people have told me that they're going to do something and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to make people feel how I felt whenever they didn't follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really value that.
When was the last time you didn't follow through?
I think maybe with like plans with someone. Yeah.
So nothing like incredibly detrimental, but still. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd feel really anxious and like shameful.
Yeah.
If it was something really big and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I actually think it's crazy, like, when people say they'll do really big things and then they don't do it and they're just like, la da da.
I also think it's crazy.
I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not feel bad? It's kind of scary.
Yeah. That's something that we can see in artists, just like promising to do something or be somewhere, and then like through poor time management or just a different opportunity arising, they're like, well, actually, no, I'm not going to be there. It's just like, you said you would do this thing. You should do the thing. And sometimes there's like real, legit reasons why you wouldn't. But we think about that a lot. Just like, okay, can we trust you with the next thing? Are you going to bail out? We don't know.
Are you trustworthy? Are you honoring?
Yeah.
Do you value other people's time? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a passage, I think it's in Matthew 7 somewhere. I don't know. Don't quote me. But I think it's Jesus talking, saying like, I want to outdo you in honor. And I just love that concept so much. And like, there's not a lot of biblical concepts that have stuck with me through my entire church and spiritual experience. But that one has always been like, I believe that so much. And like, that's going to be a driving force for me. I love that. So I try to do that with all my relationships. What do I want to be remembered for this episode? I think being intentional is my answer. A lot of people say, like, Stephen, you're so intentional. And like, I think that is true. So I'm doing a good job. People are already seeing that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just kind of rare in society nowadays. Like, people just do stuff because it's the fad or because it's what they should do, quote unquote. It's not just like, I'm going to think about this and I'm going to do this thing with purpose. And that's just kind of my normal. Like, I don't really do things willy-nilly. Do everything with intention. So hopefully I can keep that streak going and people see that and they respect it. Like, oh yeah, Steven's going to do this. He wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And like, he's going to do it well.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thank you.
You are very intentional.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We made it through.
We did. Let's go.
I think I was more worried than you were. Like, you didn't have questions. Why would you be worried? But like, yeah, God, this was tough. But I didn't get emotional, at least not outwardly. So I did it. But yeah, let's take another quick break and we'll close this out. Get it clean. See ya. That was so good.
I know, that was perfect.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of A Moment of Friendly Introspection. Rachel Huffman has been our guest. Thank you, Rachel.
Of course.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I think I enjoyed it. It was a lot of therapy-esque thoughts for me. How'd you feel about it?
Felt good.
Okay.
Good talks, as usual.
Would you say like this is a semi-normal conversation that we usually have?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Because like that's what I want it to be. Like, I did manufacture some of the questions, but for the most part.
It's questions I feel like you would ask anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to point to people or anything? Where can they follow you?
On Instagram at Rachel, and there's a period, and Danielle, and there's 3 E's at the end.
Okay.
Hopefully that's not too confusing.
I'll put it in.
Just look up Rachel Danielle.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the show notes
if
you want to check those out. You can follow this show at A Moment Pod everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean, I think it's just YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. That's all I care about. Yeah, Google it. I'm sure it'll show up. I don't know. And thank you for joining us for a moment. Bye.
Bye.